Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about medical astrology and the sun. It's going to be the first in a series I'm going to do, which is going to be about medical astrology and the astrological planets. And this one I'm going to start out with medical astrology and the sun, followed by medical astrology and the moon, etc. I'm going to talk about how these planets can relate to one's physical state there as far as possible debilitations and afflictions in health. So anyway, and talk about the body parts that correspond with the planet. And anyway, starting out with this one, medical astrology and the sun. Well, in astrology, the sun does rule the heart, the vitality, energy, the left or the right eye, depending on gender. Right eye in males, the left eye in females. Could be the physical body and the upper back as well. Now, we talk about somebody that has, they have the sun afflicted in their natal chart, especially very strongly afflicted. They could have, it's more greater propensity to have a debilitation in connection with the planet, with the sun. This could be, somebody has the sun strongly afflicted. It can be either issues with the left or the right eye, depending on gender. It could be something again with the upper back or the heart, even. Uh, it can be also, you're talking about also issues that are associated with that zodiac sign, because the sun in general could be connected with the physical body. Yes, the ascendant is what dominates the appearance and often the physical health and possible physical debilitations and afflictions, but the sun can play a role as well. And if somebody, say, has the sun, they have it in Capricorn, and it's very strongly, especially strongly afflicted, I would say, there can be issues like with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, something that could be Capricorn related, especially if you have an aspect like say, the sun in the sixth house, making it in conjunct to your ascendant. Those are some, you can have, certain things that are associated with that zodiac sign that you could have those physical afflictions with. Now, if somebody has, I knew somebody one time that had, she had a chart which really, it screamed obviously of physical debilitations and afflictions, because she had her sun in Aquarius. It was at 29 degrees, and 29 degrees, of course, could be a critical degree in astrology. You're talking about the sun being associated with the physical body. She had something, and I don't know if I'm saying the word right, something like hemiparesis, half the body was paralyzed. You're talking about an issue with the physical body. Aquarius, as far as debilitations go, can manifest in unusual, often bizarre, odd health ailments. Now, the fact she had the sun being in Aquarius, right there by itself, that could give issues with the physical body that could be Aquarius related. She also had this conjunct Mercury being in its detriment and fault in Pisces, and it was part of a Grand Cross configuration. And Grand Crosses in astrology can often bring about a lot of tribulation. They can be about crosses to bear, basically. And the fact she had that Sun conjunct Mercury in Pisces tells me she likely had some issue with the brain. There might have been some brain deterioration or damage with it, because I believe that often does, at least often, if not all the time, comes with that physical condition when you have half your body paralyzed. In another name, hemiparesis, and I don't know if I'm saying the name correctly or not, but anyway. Now, if you have transits that involve the sun, that could play a role as well. Let's say there was this one person. Some of you may have heard about him. You may not know him by name, but you may have heard about this incident. It took place in Denver, Colorado. Someone named Jack Feldman was shot in the eye. I think it was with a foam bullet on May 30th, 2020. Now, at this time, transit Chiron in Aries was at least in fairly close proximity to his natal sun. Now, the sun in astrology, again, can rule the left or the right eye depending on gender. Now, the sun being a male, in this case, rules in this instance would rule the right eye, considering he is a male. Now I think he actually was shot in the left eye, but that's still very close. I mean, he could have moved a certain way, and it would have been his right eye, and that's something you really don't hear a lot about when you're talking about all these protests and everything going on. But and also at the time, transit Neptune was also conjunct, or at least a loose conjunction to his natal Mercury in Pisces, and its Mercury is retrograde. Mercury in astrology can be connected with the eyesight, and having Mercury in Pisces in retrograde Mercury, of course, he had it in its detriment and fall, and he also had it retrograde. Remember that retro is going inward, so it's not surprising that he was involved in this situation. Sadly, he lost the use of his eye, and he said something about that's an organ that he was supposed to have for the remainder or duration of his life, and now he does not have that, sadly. But I'm just using that as an example where you can have where afflictions can take place that are involving the sun by transit. Now, keep in mind that progressions as well can play a role in physical issues and debilitations involving the sun. Let's say, for example, somebody has their progressed sun in Scorpio in their sixth house, and it's making an in conjunct to their ascendant in this progressed chart. Well, that could be an issue where one may focus. Remember that the sun is also about our focus, and it could be the physical body as well. Focus on issues that could be Scorpio related, such as the colon, the bladder, the pelvic area, reproductive system, anything that could be Scorpio related. And people have to understand, even in synastry, people can that you're talking about where when the sun is involved, it can take a toll on our vitality as well. Let's say, for example, in synastry, so you have a south node conjunct one sun. Well, the south node person, maybe not maliciously, but may unwittingly or inadvertently be draining the energy of the sun person. Let's say the sun is in Leo. Well, even that person that might have this near inexorable, indefatigable energy might have this energy being drained by that south node person, maybe not be consciously aware of it. And also, too, when my grandfather died, he had transit sun. Talk about a transit. He had the transit sun either near his 12th house cusp or in his 12th house at the time, and it was in, as far as his solar sunrise chart goes. I didn't have his time of birth, but the thing about it is the sun was in Leo, and you're talking about the 12th house of endings. He had a heart attack, I believe, when he passed away. And you're talking about transit sun. The physical body can be about issues that are associated with the heart or with the stroke. Well, he didn't have a stroke, but he did have a heart attack. And my grandfather also had the sun in Leo in his natal chart, so he was susceptible to that kind of debilitation or physical ailment. Now, he also had it, and you're talking about the transit in the 12th house. You're talking about the 12th house, and 12th house can be associated with endings. The sun also is associated with life, so that was an indicator of the life sadly coming to an end, the vitality and energy ending, sadly. Also, there's situations where, again, the sun can actually be in transit, and it could put a focus on a certain situation, a certain health situation, maybe perhaps associated with another astrological energy. Now, as an example, some of you may have heard about, there was a TV reporter named Victoria Price, and what happened was she's a Florida TV reporter, and there was somebody that was a fan, there was somebody that was watching her on TV or something, and he noticed that she had some kind of protrusion or lump by her neck and thought it might be something with the thyroid, possibly thyroid cancer. At this time of this transit, Victoria Price had the transit sun was very close proximity to her natal Chiron. The sun could be about focus, it could be about bringing attention. So this was an example where there was attention being brought to something that might involve some kind of suffering, or something that's going to require an incision. You're talking about Chiron energy being in Leo. It's not surprising that was something that gained some notoriety, exposure, and recognition. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.